Hello everyone, and welcome to my counter build versus the Behemoth. This time I'm using a wide 4 Gunlance. This is actually a rarity 6 Kulv weapon, so it's really easy for everybody to access. And yeah, let's get started. Notice that I have the Rocksteady mantle on. I did that in the very beginning of the fight in order to get away from his roar. And of course I opened up with the Wyvern Fire attack that happened earlier. And I did that to get it on recharge. It's one of your better damaging moves. Well, I shouldn't say that, but it's definitely good at causing a knockdown. We just got one of the falling boulders. As one of the fun things I have on the build here, besides a lot of defense, I actually have the part breaker skill. So I'm hoping to break all of the Behemoth's parts. At least the two arms for the shear claws, right? If you think about it, the faster you break his parts and earn those shear claws, the fewer times you actually have to farm him. Alright, and here I am shooting him in the chest. There's a Wyvern Stake. You know, I was thinking about it. His chest deflects melee attacks, so I can't use the shell, poke, shell combo on his chest. It just wouldn't be effective. Instead, I'm going to have to go shell, reload, shell, reload, yeah. Come on. He likes to run around, doesn't he? Here's another Wyvern Fire. Stealing some really good damage there. It looks like it deals close to 400 damage in one move. Of course, you don't get to use it over and over again, but it's fun when you do get to use it. It's one of the most fun things about the Gunlances. Alright, and our goal here is to gain his enmity for the team. When we do that, he no longer casts Charybdis. I don't believe he casts Charybdis anymore. Ooh, there's a paralysis. I believe the player using a sword and shield has a paralysis status on that weapon. And it looks like we were just joined by the player using the insect glaive. So all 4 of us are here now. And by the way, this is a team for my Discord channel. If you would like to join our little Discord community, feel free to do that. There's a link in the description. Yeah, the last couple days it's been very busy on the Discord. Everybody's been joining up and playing together. I mean, the Behemoth came out, Arch-Tempered Kulv came out, so of course it's busy. Alright, we have his enmity. You'll notice that I did land Wyvern Stake in his face, and when you do that, you basically get the enmity in one move if you do that, but it's very hard to land Wyvern Stake in his face. You almost basically have to get lucky. That's how hard it is. He just whips his head around too fast. It's not reliable. However, what is reliable is your regular shelling, which is the reason that we went with the wide shelling Gunlance. Like, I was originally using the long shelling Gunlance, and I didn't like the way that felt. The wide shelling, I feel like it has kind of an advantage for gaining enmity on the Gunlances, because if you just use your regular shelling, they have enough range that they can reach above you and poke him in the head. Blast him in the head, maybe was the right word. So we're in stage 2 of the fight. He's going to get to use Ecliptic Meteor this time, and he is mounted by our insect glaive user, which means at this point all I have to do is damage. You can see I'm mostly just using my shelling. You know, if you wanted to do the most possible damage with a Gunlance, you would build it for shelling and melee damage. However, I only go for shelling, and that's because the shelling by itself deals okay damage, and yet it's amazing for building defense, because to maximize shelling damage is very simple. You just want the magazine decoration, or in this case I have the magazine, what is it? Is it called high? I think it's called high metal. I have the high metal coil on, and it gives you a magazine for free. It's a default skill. However, it's not a very efficient coil, it's just that it does give you magazine, so if you want magazine on your build, and you probably should have magazine on your build, I would build that coil. The other skill that increases your shelling damage is Artillery 3, and I've got the charm for that, so there's no reason you guys couldn't build that skill. Together, that's going to be most of your damage with the wide shelling. Of course, once again, if you want to... Oh, right here, so he's knocked down, and I'm actually going to poke him in the tail. I don't really do any damage, but yeah, if you had actually built for melee damage on this Gunlance, that would have been a little better in terms of damage output. Okay, you can see he's going to land a comet on me. I didn't really place it very well. Placed it right in the middle of the map, didn't I? Then I get knocked over by his tail attack, tail whip. But it looks like somebody else is getting a comet and they are spreading them out. That's good. This is what you want to do. You want to spread those comets out to the sides of the room so that he's never able to destroy all of the comets at the same time, right? Like his attacks do damage to those comets. So if they were all stacked right next to each other, he could potentially use a move that attacks all three of them at the same time. See, we got 3 comets and they're all spread out. That's very good. The other thing to note is that now that he has 3 comets out, you should be suspecting that, you know, he's going to use Ecliptic Meteor in the next, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. So you want to start being a little more selective about when you resharpen your weapon. You know, maybe when you're using Wyvern Fire. Wyvern Fire has a long animation. That's because you don't want to be stuck in that animation just as he winds up Ecliptic Meteor. You're going to be stuck in the animation and then you're not going to be able to get behind a comet. Speaking of which, there's another Wyvern Fire. I was hoping to dodge that meteor. Didn't work at all. Should have just guarded it. You'll notice I have a green sharpness bar right now. That's okay. The green sharpness bar will affect my melee attacks, but not the shelling. Looks like I'm stunned and he's trying to help me. There we go. Yeah, the green sharpness bar will affect your melee damage, but not your shelling. When you get a brown sharpness bar, you will start to lose shelling damage. Another thing you should probably know is that at the canteen, you can eat the Bombardier skill. That's a feline food skill, and that's going to give you a pretty significant damage boost to shelling. So we've been talking about optimizing shelling damage. Getting Bombardier is part of that. Bombardier from the feline food skill. Of course, I'm missing it. I tried to eat for Bombardier, but it didn't activate. Alright, and there's the Ecliptic Meteor. Lucky for me, I wasn't sharpening and I wasn't using Wyvern Fire. Oops, he didn't make it in time. Oopsie. He did a big oopsie. Alright, we're in stage 3. The Behemoth gains a few new moves. For example, he now uses, well, you know, one of the new moves is his pin, right? The Behemoth pin. And that's actually very relevant for me in particular, because when the Behemoth goes to pin you, he will grab you through a guard. And that means if you're a lance user or you're heavy bowgun trying to guard with the shield mod, or you're using a Gunlance like I am, you're going to get grabbed. And the pin doesn't do a lot of damage, but it gives you bleed and it does do some damage. Right here, watch this. Yep, there's the pin. You'll notice I have the bleed status now. He's bashing me into the ground. I feel like that move would do more damage in the real world. And you can see I'm actually healing back up pretty fast because we have a dedicated healer. That just shows you having a dedicated healer is really important. Yep, his job is to heal the team. My job is to try and aggro the Behemoth over and over. I got pinned again. And then the guy using the Insect Glaive, he's trying to get multiple mounts on the Behemoth, because when you mount the Behemoth, you can just ride him for, I don't know, like 3 minutes. Instead of doing the minigame, you just stay on his back. Getting a lot of good damage on his head right now. There's the Wyvern Stake. Unfortunately, it looks like it hit him in the neck, not the head. And now I have the enmity. He's looking pretty mad. Looks like I have Wyvern Fire back, and he is paralyzed. Perfect. It's another 400 damage. That paralysis is coming from our sword and shield player. If I didn't already mention that, I'm pretty sure he has paralysis on that weapon. Oop, there's a comet. Also, I'm seeing a red pod on the ground. I'm probably going to test that. So if you're the person who has the shield, you definitely want to collect the dragon pods. Alright, I'll shoot him in the head. It wasn't dragon pods this time, it was a bomb pod, but that's okay. I like those too. And he is mounted again, which means we just get to do a whole bunch of damage. Looks like I'm ready to use Wyvern Fire again. You can see the guy using the sword and shield getting a sharpen in. It's a very safe time to sharpen his weapon because the monster is mounted. I've got my temporal mantle active. The fight's going exceedingly well. Oop, here's another wyvern fire. Yeah, the fight's going very well. And I'm sure part of that is because everyone here knows what they're doing. Alright, I saw a bomb pod, not a bomb pod, but a red slinger pod over there. I'm sure I'll check that out in a minute. This is pretty easy. I'm sure most of you guys could do this. I mean, if you've been watching, my role as the tank has been, you know, just shell, shell, poke, shell. And then if I get his enmity, just guard. Guard with an occasional shell. Other than that, I just don't want to die. And it is hard to die with this build. It's a very defensive build. Look at this aerial attack here. God, that looks cool. Okay, time to dodge his ecliptic meteor. Oh, spoke too soon. No, there it is. There it is. Let's get behind a comet. I'll join this guy over here. Alright, nobody died that time. We have 2 lives left. Sharpen my weapon. And we are in the last stage of the fight. You know, notice we fought him earlier in the Nergigante room, and now we're in the Nergigante nest. And all of that is just because we managed to break one of his parts in stage 2. If you fail to break one of his parts, you have to fight him in the lava areas, which I hate fighting him in the lava areas. So it's really to your advantage if you can break one of his parts, and that's why I thought it would be useful if I brought Part Breaker for my team, because I'm one of the builds that can efficiently build it. You know, like the sword and shield guy, I'm guessing he's got to focus on, he's got to get weakness exploit, he's got to get crit boost, maybe he's got to get critical eye. It depends, I don't know his actual build, but for me I just need artillery and magazine, so I'm able to build Part Breaker. And we're doing a great job. Look, he's missing both of his horns now. And I have enmity again. You'll notice this time it was because I used up all of those dragon pods. Oops, should have guarded that. Shoulder charge. Shoulder charging into me because he wants some more shells. Oh my god, I got knocked over by the stalactites. Oh, another broken part. Probably a sheer claw this time. Here's wyvern fire, but he actually interrupted it. Oof. Oof. Alright, this time it'll land. And there goes. But I didn't get to land it for free. He hit me too. Oof. I'm just getting ragdolled. And I'm stunned. So this is really why you gotta have a good healer right there. 'Cause I'm pretty sure that was a case where he probably saved me from carding. You gotta be careful too, like, if your healer's really good, you start to play riskier, don't do that. Just play like you normally would. No reason for the healer to have no other thing to do other than heal you, just because you're playing recklessly. He has a limit to those consumable items too. You waste his consumable items. Alright, and that would be the other arm. So now I'm getting 2 sheer claws from this fight. Really good. He's got to be getting pretty close now. He's got to be feeling the hurt. He still has his tail too. I wonder if we can take that off. Another wyvern fire. Ooh, it looks like only one piece of that landed though. That's too bad. Things are always a little more difficult in this room because it's so small. You don't have as much running around space, you know. One thing that's really important is to stop him from putting the Charybdis attack down when you're in the nest. Yeah, Charybdis really fucks things up. Like there is, he's trying to use it right now and we all flashed him. So if you guys are on PC going, man, I'm having trouble with the Behemoth, that's a big tip right there. Just make sure he never gets to use Charybdis and the fight gets way easier. Like for example, when I gain, oh, there goes his tail. When I gain his enmity, he's not going to use Charybdis then, And then when he isn't aggroed, we're all flash potting him, right? Like all of us. We all have 10 flash bugs in our inventory, and in our radio menus, we have it set up so that we can craft more flash pods. Okay, I'm seeing 2 comets. I don't see 3 yet. Little aerial attack there, that's fun. Look at this, I have both mantles waiting. Oh, and look at that, another proc of paralysis. Was that 3? I think that was 3, right? It's pretty good. Come on. I'm playing a little more recklessly now. I don't have to worry about his attacks. There's the 3rd comet. Now we're getting real close. If you've never beaten him, this is when you start to get excited. You start to go, oh shit, we're gonna win. It's really exciting moments in this fight. It's such a terrific fight, which is why it's such a shame that, you know, I was just griping about this in my other videos. Such a shame that they gave Arch-Tempered Kulftaroth like 95 new weapons. I'm kind of tired of fighting her. I mean, she's one monster in a game full of monsters. But here we have the Behemoth, and he gets 1 weapon. Think about that. I mean, really think about that for a minute. And he gets at least 1. There are plenty of Arch-Tempered monsters that didn't get any weapons. So, you know, if you felt like maybe I was griping because I'm tired of the game, it's not really the correct... Oh, look at that. I almost sharpened. That would have killed me. But yeah, as I was saying, it's not that I'm griping about the game. It's more like I just don't like the distribution of weapons in the game. I don't think they did it. I don't think they handled it very well. I don't want to fight Arch-Tempered Kulftaroth a million times. Alright, so check that out. I got 2 Sheer Claws from that fight. And here's the build. Yeah, the Behemoth is a really fun fight. So you guys should go in there and enjoy this. Notice I'm able to fit so much defense, as well as Part Breaker onto the build, and then I just don't worry about melee, I just strictly focus on shelling, and that's not the optimal damage for Gunlance, but it's still pretty good. It lets me do a lot of defense, and a pretty good amount of offense. Also notice I didn't have any augmentations. You could consider bringing health regen augmentations. Alright, and that's the whole run. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.